see it.
Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to NerdKO versus Episode 8. This is Muzz, and with me today we have...
Kyle.
And?
Sleazy.
Yeah, and today we're missing Josh, but he'll be back for the next episode. So what are we going to talk about today, Sleazy?
We're going to start off with Mad Max Fury Road.
This is my movie. I'm all over this one. This is my... Interstellar was my movie last year. Fury Road's my movie this year. I don't know anything that I think is going to beat it. I've been hearing hype about this movie for almost a year now. I think they finished principal photography in like 2012, and I've been hearing reviews on it for over a year. I sat there like a month before the movie came out, and I thought to myself, you know what? I've seen a trailer for this movie on TV every day, and I kind of started worried, like, is that really going to be up to the hype that I've seen a trailer for this movie every day? Sleazy and I went to see it on the Ultra Screen in Pickerington. Nice Ultra Screen, super duper big one. Nice Dream Lounger seats. I just loved every minute of it. I don't know if Sleazy liked it quite as much as I did.
No.
But that's just because he's wrong.
I had the same feeling I had when I watched those movies as a kid, and I just don't get it. I don't... Okay, in a post-apocalyptic world where fuel is so... what's the word I'm looking... precious... They resort to no end to destroy everything with fuel in it.
Well, I will say in the movie, it's the Mad Max continuity is very loose at times. So you never, if you watch the first Mad Max, it's kind of like it's like a world on the brink, and then you go to Road World and like everybody's crazy, and you got the humongous out there with
everyone's
his
like in tribes
and his assless chaps. And I admit I've never seen Thunderdome all the way through. It's the PG.
Really?
It's the PG-13 one. George Miller didn't direct it. And
well, Thunderdome was funny because it seemed like at that point, and I mean Max had gone from maybe in his 20s in the first one to his 40s in the third one. It seemed, but it seemed like a world completely disconnected from the one he was in. Like no one even remembered what the past was like, and I thought that was really weird about the last Mad Max movie, but I haven't seen the new one, so I can't speak on it.
Tom Hardy got paid. I mean, what did he have, like 3 lines in that whole movie?
but
seriously.
There's not a whole lot of dialogue, thank God.
No, there's not.
George Miller, it's probably not...
Charlize Theron was good in it. I'll say that.
It's probably not his strong suit, his dialogue, but I mean the action is just epic from start to finish. Like I said, he's talking about the gas. The gas isn't such a big deal in this one because it's kind of like you said, they're like tribes, sort of. They're like these loose connections.
Yeah.
So you've got like Immortan Joe, who's the main villain. He lives in the Citadel. But he's also got connections to Gastown and the Bullet Farm. So he's got some. He's got ways to get what he needs. So it's not, you're not focused on the gas so much as in like the Road Warrior, where the whole thing is about we need gas to go. So it's really just this nice contained action piece. Everything's crazy. The stunts are crazy.
There is some awesome visual effects, or what, I don't know what you want to say. What is it, like a sandstorm that they have? And like they go in the sandstorm, like right by the funnel, and it's pretty amazing. Like
now,
what you see.
Do they like give you an impression during the movie at what point in the Mad Max like universe that this is happening?
Here's how I'm kind of thinking about this now. They didn't call it a reboot, and it is, but it isn't. The way I think about it is, if you think of the old James Bond movies, new Bond, but it's really Bond still. The movies don't necessarily have like a sequel connection. What happened in the movie or 2 movies before doesn't necessarily mean anything. So it's kind of in this weird space where it just sort of exists. It's not important when it exists.
Do we assume his origin is the same?
He says in the movie that I used to be a cop.
Okay.
So and the credits says Max Rocktansky. It's the same Max.
That was his second line.
Okay. So, does he wear a knee brace in this one?
Yes, he's got that funky knee brace.
So we know that is part of the continuity as well.
Yes.
So this would be more of a sequel than a reboot.
Mostly. Yeah, like it's
Okay.
funky. It's not something you should really take the time to worry about.
Oh, I'm going to.
But I think, but if you do, you're missing out.
So would you guys say I should definitely see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say it's a bad movie. I just don't get Mad Max. Is what I'm saying.
Just as a whole.
It just doesn't appeal to me. Like I don't know what people find so interesting about it.
Okay.
So it's weird. It's just beautiful looking. I mean,
It's
this is my
really
movie.
weird. It's not just weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, well, the first ones were pretty weird.
Yeah. They're really weird.
Within like the first 5 minutes of this movie, we go to the Citadel, and Immortan Joe's got his sons, and because they're living out in this sort of, we assume there's been some sort of nuclear-ish war at some point, and they even kind of mention like a little intro at the beginning where they talk about the gas going scarce and everything else. So basically, the plot of the movie is Fury Rosa is Charlize Theron. She's supposed to be going to Gastown to get gas and bring it back to the Citadel and fill everything up. But it turns out she's actually stole or made off with Immortan Joe's brides. And she's going to take them to the Green Place. So to run away, because they're basically like his sex slaves. But he needs them to produce viable offspring. Because he's got sons already, but they're all messed up. So Rictus, he's like the big, monstrous kind of son, kind of like Humongous in Road War, but he's got this one. I thought for sure Sleazy was going to laugh as soon as he comes on the screen, but it's like this little, I don't know what you want to call the politically correct term, but he's a midget or a little person. Mm-hmm. But he looks like he's got health problems associated with it because he's little and he's not proportional and stuff. And he's
a little Eric the actor type.
Yeah, he's smaller than Eric.
Oh wow,
he looks like a little adipose with creepy eyes.
Yeah.
And
I thought for sure Sleazy was going to laugh.
He uses like a telescope to like peer out into the desert.
Yeah.
He's like held up in like a cradle of bungee cords or something.
It's like a chair that somebody moves him around in.
Yeah,
and it's in like the first 10 minutes of the movie.
I have to see
and
this.
and that's when it's like they're going to keep this weird.
I'll tell you, another part that just kind of lost me in the movie. Like they go after Mad Max and Charlize Theron's character, and they have this whole fleet of people like chasing them down.
All the war boys.
And it's on like this. They're driving the semi after him. And they have this dude. They have amplifier speakers.
Don't you diss the doof warrior.
And this dude's like on bungee cords playing like a double guitar, and he's got like a gimp mask on. And
the guitar's got a flamethrower on the end.
Yeah, like every time he hits a note, it's like.
It's amazing. That one character alone is probably worth movies worth of characters in other movies.
So here's my question: who does Theron think she is stealing dudes' brides? Sounds to me like she's the bad guy.
Yeah, she is the bad guy.
She's just stealing someone's property? What's that about?
In a post-apocalyptic world, it is perfectly lawful to collect women, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, is there any law? Is he breaking the law?
He's just trying to repopulate the earth.
Right, okay. So, that's the spin I'm going to have going on in my head when I'm watching the movie.
And listeners, if you're a feminist, this probably isn't the movie.
No, this is your movie. This is a feminist. Should almost have been called Furiosa because she's like the big baddest of the movie. Max starts out, he's kind of been like, you assume anyway, kind of like roaming the wasteland by himself. And they basically say he's gone feral. And when you first see him, he's got the wild man, long hair, long beard, and everything. Mm-hmm. And he spends a good first third or half of the movie just kind of that way. And it's not until he goes on and he has to interact with Furiosa and the brides that he kind of comes back. And by the end, he's really the Max that we know.
Okay. And
I need this movie to be successful because they've already got a sequel pretty well thought out.
Yeah, they're going to. It got really good reviews.
It's on Rotten Tomatoes, got a 98, 99 rating. And I agree with it. It's got critical ratings.
Everybody's giving it great ratings. That's all you need to know.
The budget, I think, was around $150 million, and its domestic is up in the 90s right now. Nice. And worldwide, it's over 100 or something. So worldwide, it's made over $200 million. I'd love to see that domestic number hit 150, 200 million, right. Just to sort of assure
sequel
that
numbers.
Yeah. Because he's already got it would be called Mad Max: The Wastelands. Mm-hmm. Supposedly, there's even a pretty good idea for a third one. I don't know how far off they are on that one.
See, it seems to me like this happens between the original second and third.
Sort of.
Like something that happens right in there because he doesn't have the gray hair yet.
Right.
But
he starts out the movie with his it doesn't look exactly like his V8 Interceptor, but it's meant to look really close, and he loses it during.
I thought they said that was the same one.
Well, it might. It looks pretty close, and maybe it's supposed to be, but it doesn't look 100% the same. But like I saw this movie twice. I went and saw this movie in 3D. That's how much I enjoyed it, and I don't really care for 3D. And I will say 3Ds, whatever it is, it's gotten better in years, but it's still kind of distracting to me. But there's the opening shot of the movie where it's kind of like Max, and he's got like the wasteland like way out, kind of like in a valley, and he's standing up on this little plateau, and the camera's kind of back with that little lizard you see in some of the trailers. So it's got like this nice 3-tiered effect, and it looked pretty good in 3D. I'll probably go see the movie at least once more while it's in theaters.
Okay, and what are your thoughts on the video game?
I haven't paid too much attention to it yet. I heard it's basically like a car smash 'em kind of racing kind of game or something
Seems
like that.
Seems like it, yeah.
And
where you build your own custom vehicle, yeah.
So I haven't followed it too much. I've read some headlines for reviews that weren't too keen on it, but that's fine. It's, that's the game. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, whatever.
Is it something you plan to try?
I'd try it. But it's not something that's like high up on my anticipation list.
Sleazy, like you look like you could care less.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go out of my way and play it. I mean, all my time's been devoted to like Halo in the evenings, so which we were gonna play in a tournament on Friday, and it was like through ProGamingLeague.com, and you had to have 4 people in your squad. We had 3, and our 4th squad member had to work, and he's an EMT, so he doesn't know when he's going to get cut on Friday, so he couldn't commit. And regardless, they gave us a half hour today to find a 4th squad member. A half hour. And then they cut us. So I was kind of a little upset about that. Like, how do you give us a half hour in the middle of the week? But unrelated to Mad Max. But
yeah.
So my thoughts on Mad Max, the second time I was watching it, I was like, this is like the kind of movie Michael Bay wished he could make. And I was thinking to myself, if you've ever paid to see a Michael Bay movie, whether it's in the theater, you own it on home, DVD, whatever, if you've ever paid to see a Michael Bay movie and you don't go and pay to either see Mad Max or buy it, you're part of the problem. That's my official take on this.
Okay.
By the way, they're going to make a documentary about the guy, is it George Miller?
The director?
Yeah, because he was going to do a Justice League movie.
Yes.
And they're going to
This was like a decade ago now or something.
Yeah, they're going to do a documentary on it.
Interesting.
So
that would have been something to see.
I'm dying to see the Superman documentary with Nick Cage.
Nicolas Cage one.
I want to see it so bad. They said. It sounds like it had a phenomenal storyline. It just fell through.
Yeah, but
did
anyone want Nicolas Cage?
No,
as Superman?
I didn't think they had like a lot.
The suit looks
stuff.
sweet though.
Yeah.
I'll give them that.
I didn't think they had like much footage or anything. So
no, they had the storyboards written out, but something happened with the script.
It seemed like a documentary would be kind of a lot of fluff on that one.
I want to see what happens because supposedly they brought people in. I think Kevin Smith was one of them too.
I think I read that.
And something just happened. They pissed somebody off and they just dumped the whole project.
Was that before Superman Returns or after?
Yeah. This was around the Batman era. When Tim Burton was hot.
The only thing I think that had going for it was that Nicolas Cage is a huge comic book fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he would have wanted a script that showed respect to the Superman mythology.
It was going to be a Death of Superman movie.
Yeah. So it might have had merit as a story, but I still can't see Nicolas Cage as Superman.
No, not even in his prime. We're going to talk about Maggie next, though. Muzz hasn't seen it.
I haven't seen it, no.
But we watched it.
And to tell you exactly how unspectacular its release was, I didn't know it got released until we were talking today before we did the podcast. And I said, when's it coming out? And they're like, we've seen it.
Yeah, we watched it.
I was, like maybe 2 weekends ago, I was looking up times for Mad Max. And I'm like, Maggie's out this weekend. I called him and said, hey, maybe we should try to check that out. We didn't get around to checking it out.
A movie that they had talked about so much. And Arnold's performance and all this, like I would have thought would have somehow earned a more spectacular launch, but
it didn't for a reason, if you ask me.
It's a really like quiet little movie.
It looks like a drama.
Yeah,
obviously, it's not a horror movie per se. But what I really want to know is how was Arnold's performance?
Arnold was good. Look,
the performance, and Abigail Breslin's in it. I forget the woman who played the mom. All the performances were good.
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay.
You could say it's just kind of boring.
Yeah, it is kind of boring, but...
Well, it's a drama.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but, I don't know. a lot of other dramas are much more entertaining than this was. But
I think it would have been nice if it had just had like one big scene
it was
where
just
Arnold
like
killed a bunch of zombies.
It was just like, where are you going with this? Like, and I mean, I get what they were trying to do at the end of the movie. Wow, somebody's thunderous.
It's Max and Furiosa driving by.
Yeah,
in the war rig.
But I don't know. It was just.
It just wasn't a lot going on.
Yeah, it just didn't have. You're watching it and you're like, okay, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better.
Exactly.
It's gonna get better. There's gonna be something here that makes the drama, and there's no drama. That's the whole point of the movie.
Basically, what it is they call it. I like the name. They call it the necroambulist virus, the Walking Dead virus.
Sure.
So you get infected, and they've got it pretty well figured out that you've got like 2 weeks before you start to exhibit like full-on signs of being a zombie.
Right.
So people. Like, cities are kind of deserted because those would be where everybody's crowding around first. But like kind of like out in the country where Arnold and stuff, it's not so bad. But there are families with infected people. So the whole movie is almost like people have cancer or something like that. Mm-hmm. So you have that short time to deal with all your feelings for this person. That's what Arnold's doing.
It was nice to see somebody take care of a loved one that was infected and the decisions they have to make. But overall, it was still boring.
Well, it seems like a subject that gets kind of glazed over in most movies.
Yeah.
Someone gets bitten. Someone gets scratched. Someone gets the virus. And you see all the characters around them fighting zombies and doing the normal zombie movie thing. And then they change and then they get killed. And that's pretty much the story. But this is a whole movie dedicated to that change. And that's what I thought sounded most interesting about it.
That's what I heard somebody say before. It's almost like this would be like a 20-minute subplot. In like a Romero movie.
Yeah,
right.
But
right.
You just didn't get where the struggle was coming from. Like,
you get that Arnold's upset that his
I was going
to
say that would have to be the drama of
and
the
they just didn't pull it off where you didn't see. You get that Arnold's like making a tough decision, but they don't really show a whole lot of emotion on it's just kind of like go to your room, and it's. I mean, that's it.
There's a scene where I don't know if they're like neighbors, but they're Arnold's neighbors, like in town, and like a mom had been keeping her husband and like her 4-year-old daughter who'd been bitten. She had them locked up in a room, and they get out, and Arnold beats them in the woods, and he has to kill them. Mm-hmm. And it's very dramatic that he has to kill a 4-year-old who got bitten and turned into a zombie. So you get that it's all in there, and I might have even told Sleazy as we were watching it, like if this had been like a half-hour short film or something. It would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
There's no kind of drive. There's not a lot of tension.
It just didn't get you.
Now, is this a film you think Arnold can earn any kind of awards for?
No.
No?
No.
I don't think so. Like, his performance is good, as we said, but it's just...
It's not a outstanding performance.
If he did this performance in a bigger movie...
It's a step up for Arnold, but it's not anywhere near what anybody else is doing. Is it going to top a Jake Gyllenhaal? No. Is it going to do even Johnny Depp? No. And it's not touching the premier actors.
Yeah. Even if you'd have had like a really good actor, like somebody you think of as a dramatic actor in this movie, it still wouldn't have been much better.
By the way, I watched what was the movie on Netflix? The David Guire movie, Sabotage.
Oh yeah,
with Arnold.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
I laughed a lot.
It was fun.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it was just a fun actiony movie to watch.
Yeah,
it was very
kind of dark, over the top.
Yeah, over like a 90s action flick. It was just fun.
I love hearing Arnold cuss. Like they should just make a movie where it's just him screaming the F-bomb at everybody.
They should make an action movie where Arnold plays a main character who has Tourette syndrome. And kills lots of people, right? Get to the fuck, chopper! Shit! Now, speaking on the zombie thing, by the way, since we're on the zombie topic, I've been watching iZombie.
Yeah, do you like it?
I love this show.
I don't know why. I just can't pull the trigger to watch it.
It's such a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
I really have enjoyed it. I recommend it. And neither one of you, I assume, have seen it.
We've talked about it quite a few times.
It's unique. It's fun. The main character is cute as hell. I mean, it's just one of those interesting things to watch. It's not stellar. It's not going to like knock your socks off. It's not going to be your favorite show ever, but you will find it entertaining.
I thought I seen where it got renewed for
Yes,
a second season.
yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
should be
Seems
good.
like an interesting, a newer concept on the zombies.
Yeah,
So-
it's a lot of fun.
and a concept that's being beaten to death.
That's based off
anything
a comic book, isn't it?
That I couldn't tell you.
I believe
don't
it
know.
is.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on, Kyle wants to talk about The Martian.
And I have no idea what that is.
Neither do I. I just heard Matt Damon got casted in it.
All right, so tell us.
Matt Damon. Yeah, I was going to talk about a couple books. Josh isn't here to talk about the other one I was going to talk about, so I'll wait for him. But The Martian is basically, it's a hard sci-fi novel about this character who gets... There's 6 characters, and they go on a trip to Mars. This isn't like the world's first trip to Mars. It's called Ares 3 is the mission number. So they've been there a couple times. They've got it pretty well worked out. And these 6 astronauts are going to go there for like a month-long mission. And just, do astronaut stuff, check on rock samples and yada yada. But on like the 6th day, there's a big storm. And they live in what's called the Hab. And it's basically like a big tent. So it's only designed to withstand so much force. So the storm gets so big they have to abort the mission. As they're leaving, a communications array wipes out the main character. And they think he's dead because it crushes through his suit and, metrics all go down, all that, so they leave. But he survives. Kind of lucky. The suit kind of sealed itself off. So now he's stuck on Mars. And because the communications array is gone, he's got no way to talk to anybody. So he's thinking, all right, what can I do to stay alive? So it's pretty accurate. The guy who wrote the book's name's Andy Weir. He's like a nerd. He says he's watched all the Doctor Who's. He was like a software engineer at 14. He does like astronomical orbital projections for fun.
That's awesome.
So he wanted this book to be as accurate as possible. So he's like, okay, I got this much food. How do I make it last? Can I grow any food? Did they send anything? How much water do I got? What do I need to go out and do missions to get stuff that I can possibly use? And how can I maybe get in contact? So he basically decides early on that he needs to live long enough for them to come back because there's more missions scheduled, and stuff happens in between. So they've decided they're making a movie. They just released some pictures like last week. It's pretty much just Matt Damon walking around on a red planet Mars. So there's not too much to it yet. But I really enjoyed the book, and I'm waiting to see this movie just tear it up. And everybody loves Matt Damon. He said Interstellar was my movie last year, so I'm really looking forward to some sort of accurate, hard science fiction.
It's kind of funny that he would do that role and then do this role.
Yeah.
Hopefully
he's not like a dirtbag in this one.
No, he's the character. The character is sort of like even the author Andy Weir said. This is who you'd want to be because he's sent on the mission. He's a botanist and engineer, so he's a smart guy. He's like the funny sort of one in the group, the positive, optimistic one. So he's really smart. He has to like do all these little things, and he has to fix everything. It's a really good book. You should read the book, but I think the movie's going to be pretty good too. Just so the listeners know, there are no actual Martians in the movie. He is the Martian. He's the Martian. Right. No, there's nothing crazy. No aliens show up. It's not like no crazy Michael Bay twist.
No red planet type.
No crazy meteors threatening to strike the planet or anything.
You mentioning Interstellar just kind of like jogged my memory of something I wanted to talk about that we forgot to write down on our syllabus for tonight. Did you guys hear the news? Marvel is going after Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, for
Spider-Man.
Didn't they want him to be Osborn or whatever?
Norman Osborn.
Interesting.
I'm all for it, man. I like Matthew McConaughey is my dude now, so I want to see him in a Marvel movie. That'd be cool.
I don't imagine the character being like a Southern guy, and I don't know that I've ever heard Matthew McConaughey do anything else than that. So it'd be interesting to see if he has any range.
I did it. I killed Spider-Man. All right.
All right. That's what I love about them Spider-Man.
So I'm guessing he'll be Green Goblin then too. So because I heard they wanted to bring Green Goblin back. So
possible. I think the.
What if he like pulls up and he pulls out like one of the pumpkin bombs or whatever?
Am I the only one who think it's a little crazy that they're rebooting Spider-Man yet again, and they're using the same generic enemy? Like, didn't we have that problem with Superman? Like, every Superman, it was always
I don't
Lex
think
Luthor.
it's official yet.
They
haven't made up
Lex
their
Luthor.
mind.
And now they're considering even the Green Goblin. Really?
Well, you almost have to have the Green Goblin in there.
Out of the entire Spider-Man universe, though, the Green Goblin is the best you can do?
Well, doesn't he set up a lot of the universe, though? That's the thing.
He is a very...
he's a prominent villain.
He's an important villain. But I just don't want him to... Like, I thought they like Raimi messed up when they killed him off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought he should have been, at least come back at some point. But he had other plans with whatchamacallit taking over.
Yeah.
It's the Hobgoblin. But I don't know. I mean, I think they might try to set something up with Kingpin. I'm thinking. So, I don't know.
At some point, Kingpin, Daredevil, and Spider-Man have to interact.
Well, Kingpin originally was a Spider-Man villain. So...
It does.
Frank Miller even said at some point he wanted to steal as many Spider-Man villains as he could for Daredevil. And I've been reading Frank Miller's run on Daredevil. It's got like 3 volumes and a couple of other trade paperbacks, and it's pretty amazing. And what he does with Daredevil and Kingpin and Karen Page and all that.
And Bullseye.
Yeah.
He kills it with Bullseye.
I can't wait for Bullseye. I think Bullseye's got to show up next season. And I think it'll be...
They said Elektra's going to be in next season.
She's got to be.
Yeah. So... But did you guys see where that is it? How do you pronounce that kid's name? That's going to be the next Spider-Man, supposedly.
Asa Butterfield.
Yeah, he got on like a Reddit post, and people were like dogging him, like, "Oh, he's a midget. He's too short to play Spider-Man." He was like, "Actually, I'm 6'1", guys," and like it stayed up for a little bit, and then he had to he deleted it. So, but somebody screen captured it, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I just thought that was funny. He's taking to the airs to defend his height.
Shouldn't Spidey be short?
I
always imagine Peter Parker. He's bullied.
Maybe 6 foot.
He's a shrimp.
He's dangling.
See, I see Peter Parker as like 5'9". 5'10". I don't know.
Close enough to 6 foot.
Getting bit by a radioactive
Someone
spider.
listening to this right now is jumping on Wikipedia or something, finding out how tall Spider-Man is. Because it's out there.
Actually, Muzz, he's 5 foot. Okay, we're going to move on to Kickstarter projects. You're into this now. You guys are both been getting into some.
Well, it's because we like spending money on stuff, Sleazy. We're not greedy. We don't hoard it all.
Yeah.
we like to give to projects that we like.
So what have you given to, Kyle?
I've actually given to a couple. I gave to an Indiegogo when the Super Trooper 2 was looking for money, and I like that. Basically, you can pay for your ticket, prepay, and I think that's kind of cool that they're going that way. I gave to a Kurt Vonnegut Kickstarter because they're going to make a documentary, and so basically for that the gift that I chose, they're going to send me like one of his autographed books. It's going to be autographed by the guy directing it and like Kurt Vonnegut's widow. And the newest one I did is I did the Bill Nye Planetary Society light sail Kickstarter, where they're going to send the light sail up into space and test it out and everything. And I think that's going to be really cool.
I thought that was pretty cool. Now, there was something I saw on that, and I actually considered funding that. But they said for set amount, you get 1 square inch of the sail.
A square centimeter.
Now, is this something they retrieve and give to you, or is it just like in name, like, oh, you get a piece of the sail?
I'm not exactly sure. Because what it is
like, are you sponsoring a piece of the sail? Is it like real estate in space that belongs to you?
I think they're putting your name on there somehow, somewhere. But for the centimeter, I'm not exactly sure how they're doing it because they've got one light sail up right now in like a low Earth orbit, checking all the systems and stuff. And next year is when they actually launch it out into space. So I'm not sure if they're just going to like give you an extra one. It's like, oh, here's the next one. We'll just cut out and give you pieces. Or if they're going to take one of the ones that has been out in space at some point. Because I think they're scheduled to send the gifts or whatever somewhere toward the end of the year. So I'm not 100% sure, but it'll have like the square centimeter. That's the one of the gift packages I went with, and it'll have like a certificate of authenticity and all that. So I really just think it's cool to be able to say I gave money to sort of hopefully scientific advancement, and it's just really kind of cool that it's out there. You can go on there, you can give $1, you can give $5, you know. And I think a lot of Kickstarter and stuff are doing that. Like, hey, throw us $1 and send us your support, and that's cool. Just you can get your name on stuff. So I'm really intrigued by these sort of, call them bigger ideas of, science and, people in literature and all that. And I think it's cool to have your name on stuff like that.
Yeah. Now, I recently gave to the Bloodstained Kickstarter.
Very, very cool.
Which, for me, was a big deal.
Almost a no-brainer for you.
Yeah. I've been saying for years now, why isn't there like a real sequel to a game like Symphony of the Night, where you use today's technology to make just the most beautiful sprites and the most beautiful environment ever, and still have that 2D, environment. And no one wants to do a game like that anymore. They kept on doing these Curse of Darkness, and that's not for me. That's not the game I want to see. And I feel like Nintendo has proven over and over that you can do modern day 2D games.
I still love going back to my old 2D games a lot.
Yeah, well, and then you look at like New Super Mario Brothers and Donkey Kong Country Returns and Epic Yarn and all these games that they're doing that are 2D and how successful they are. But these other companies, they just don't want to do them. They don't want to do them. Capcom, Konami, I mean...
The big names in those... They used to they got famous making those games.
They're the backbone of their companies, and they refuse to do them. They refuse to do the fan service. And then Koji comes out and says, I'm going to do it. And he even says it in the video. They said it can't be done. They said there is no support. If you watch the video on the Kickstarter... And in one day, I think it was.
Yeah, I posted an article on the Facebook page. I don't think it was a whole day. They almost like doubled with their original goal or something.
Yeah, and they're about to hit the 3 million mark, which I'm stoked about because that means a Wii U version. And I think that's the one I'll go with. I did the $300 signed box set deal. And I've never, it's my first Kickstarter. I've never been more excited about getting a game in my life. So I'm really amped, and I figure if they do Wii U, PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and right now there are just over 1,300 backers for this one box set signed, and then every tier above that gets the same set. So if there's like 2,000 people total getting this box set autographed, and then that's divided amongst 4 consoles. That's just going to be an incredible collectible. That's going to be something great to have in my collection. Someday I'm going to look back and say, look, I supported that. I helped that game get made. I mean, how often do you get to say that? That's awesome.
I really like the idea of stuff like games and stuff that, to a degree, essentially, you're just pre-ordering. You're saying, yes, I want this game. Make it good, and I'll buy it. So I like that it's a good way to show demand. I haven't got in on this one, but I think sooner than later I will, because I'm a big fan of the old 2D games.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one.
Yeah, and another one we were talking about earlier was Ukulele, and I showed you guys the video that this is the team, the minds behind Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie and Donkey Kong Country, finally doing it's really a spiritual successor to Banjo, and it looks pretty amazing too. And I would back it right now. My problem is that they only have the physical PC version, and I'm just not a guy who collects for PC.
Console gamers, yeah.
Yeah, well, and it's not so much that I'm like anti-PC. I'm not one of those fanboys. It's just I'm a console gamer. 20 years down the road, I'm going to want to pop that into my console and play it. And I don't want a PC version for that. I want like my console version. So that I'm kind of holding off on, and I want to see where it's going to go. But these Kickstarter projects. I mean, look at Mighty Number 9, which is about to come out now on Xbox and PS4 and all those. I mean, a game created because Capcom refuses to do another good Mega Man game, And now, after being funded by the fans, it's coming out for the next-gen consoles, and everyone is amped for it. And now, the only thing they could do right now to make it more perfect for me is, and I'm begging for it, a Shenmue and a Time Splitters.
I thought they'd been talking about Shenmue. Recently,
word is if we can find someone who will fund it, we'll do it. And I'm looking at like the fan funding community, the Kickstarters and the Indiegogos and all these, and I'm like, why hasn't someone done it yet?
It's obviously a viable option at this point.
Absolutely, and I mean they could make a stellar Shenmue 3 and finally just close up the series for us. Let us have a real ending. And I don't have any doubt that it would be funded immediately as soon as it goes up. Just like Bloodstained, just like Mighty Number 9, just like Ukulele, this game would be funded immediately. And a Time Splitters, I think, could really get funding too. There's a huge cult following for that series.
Like we were talking about, he said in his video that they tell me there's not a demand for these games. Well, somebody somewhere along the lines is wrong.
Right. And the real problem is that you've got like the reason he has to do Bloodstained and the reason Mighty Number 9 isn't Mega Man is because these companies, they're selfish. They're only worried about the bottom line. Yep. This is your big developer, your big publisher. And they won't make the game because they don't think they can make enough money. But they won't hand the property to someone who's willing to make the game. And that's just utterly ridiculous to me. Like, you know, right now Crytek owns Time Splitters. And they're sitting on it. You know, Free Radical was developing Time Splitters 4 when they shut down and when they sold. And Crytek, the first thing they did was shelf it. I don't know why they bought Crytek. It makes no sense to me if you're not gonna go forward with their, not arguably but definitely their greatest franchise, one that's been proven through 3 games prior, and they're just not willing to do it. And there's a fan community who's doing Time Splitters Rewind, but it's just for PC and it's just online, like multiplayer stuff, from my understanding. So if they're willing to do that, why won't they just hand the property over to some team and say, here, the engine's already been created, just make the new game and go with it. And you're going to get funded by the fans. We're not even going to pay a dime. And they have the potential to make a lot of money off of that, and they're just sitting on it.
Yeah, that's how some of those things go, whether it's games or even movies sometimes. They think, hey, I'll make more money if I sit on this property for a couple of years. And you just don't know, like, but people want this. They're ready to spend money now.
And, you know, people forget quickly, especially in the gaming community, you know? I mean, another few years and maybe the Shenmue thing won't work out as well. Maybe the Time Splitters thing won't work out as well. I mean, just jump on it. Get on it while the iron's hot, because, you know, all of us who play Time Splitters, we're older gamers now. You know, younger gamers now have no idea what Time Splitters is.
That was always kind of a cult game anyway.
Right. So, yep. That's it. Anyone else? Any other?
No, I don't jump into the Kickstarter campaigns.
I'm gonna link you now whenever I see a good Kickstarter.
I'll look at it.
Sending it to you until you fund one.
I don't know what it is. You know, I wanted to do the Super Troopers one, and it just slipped my mind, and never got around to it.
When I get my cool Bloodstained box set and I'm showing it off to you.
And I was just like, all right.
You better believe I'm throwing my centimeter of light cell right to Lizzy's face.
But that's all right, because I got something cool I want to talk about.
Okay.
It's not really that cool.
Funko Pop's Marvel Collector Core. It is pretty cool. I'm not going to lie to you.
Did you just get your second package?
No, I just got the first package. I wasn't going to subscribe. And then I went and seen Avengers Age of Ultron and the whole Hulkbuster scene. And I was like, I gotta have the Hulkbuster.
Did you get your Hulkbuster?
I did.
I know you were kind of worried.
I didn't think they were gonna get. I thought I missed the first shipment, and they were just gonna put me into the next phase of it. And within like 2 weeks, I got the package. But it's pretty interesting. Like what made me really want to get it was I looked online, and the Hulkbuster was selling for like $69, and it only cost, like, altogether with shipping, $30 every 2 months. So right there, you're doubling your money off of the one figure that's in there.
Right.
But it's pretty cool. I was a little upset that they didn't require a signature, because I came home and this sweet Captain America, like, heavy cardboard box was sitting on my porch.
Didn't it say, like, Marvel real big on the side?
Yeah, Marvel Collector Corps with a giant Captain America head, and I'm like, oh, great. If I lived in the hood, this would have been gone, you know. But so I got it. I took it inside, and I didn't even waste any time. I opened it right up. But they give you like a little pin badge of Captain America, and it says Collector Core on it. And then you got like an iron-on badge, of Ultron or whatever. And then you got like a little, besides the Hulkbuster, you got a little figurine that was kind of like a little miniature Funko Pop. Not quite, but it was pretty cool. It was of Ultron, but I got it sitting out somewhere. But I will not open the Hulkbuster one. Like, I get the Funko Pop. I've only opened one Funko Pop that I've ever bought, and that was the Baby Groot, just to play with the head. His little bobblehead. And, but the Hulkbuster, you get your money's worth. It's not like vinyl. It's like metal. It's pretty heavy. And
isn't it? It's a special edition kind of Hulkbuster.
Yeah, like these are all special edition that you get out of these collector cores. Like, they're not going to sell them other than that. Even though they're kind of leading you on, because they're going to produce that till the last minute. But it's pretty cool. And then I got a comic book with it, so an Avengers comic book, and then you get a special edition T-shirt that they made just for these. So for $30, you've got well more worth than what you put in what they gave you anyways.
Did you sign up for a subscription service, or are you just doing it on a case by case basis?
When you sign up, it tells you you're signing up until you cancel. So it'll just keep rolling off your card every 2 months.
Like Indie Box or
correct, or Loot Crate,
right.
And it actually has me thinking like, what do I want to get Loot Crate now? Like,
I've been getting Indie Box for a while.
You seem to be a fan of it.
It's funny because I've gotten like 12 of them now, and the first couple I opened, and I was very impressed with like the packaging, and I'm getting a physical product. It's mainly PC stuff, but they're like on little USB cards and like cool things, and I'm supporting indie developers, which I'm really a big proponent of. And then I've been so busy over the last like months and months that I just haven't had a chance to open them. I am sitting on like 8 or 10 of them right now that I haven't even opened. So.
Yeah, no, weren't you saying that a lot of them come with download cards now?
Well, apparently,
so
they come with so you get a free Steam download with some of them.
So I remember you talking about that before, saying that's really nice because you don't have to open if you don't want to.
Yeah,
so physical kind of collector's
Yeah, that's really awesome. And I noticed that with one that I did pop open real quick to look at the packaging because it was in a bigger box. I was like, "Ooh, what's this all about?" So I don't know. I would recommend that to anyone. And yeah, I haven't opened and played all mine yet, but the time is coming, and I'm going to be real happy to have them on display. And
I really like the subscription service where with that collector core, you know what you're getting. But I'm interested to try something where it's a surprise every month.
Yeah,
I think that would be cool. Like, what are you going to get this month?
Who knows?
But I'm really into it though. Like that, I applaud Funko for doing that. I wish they do other stuff like that though. Yeah. Like a subscription service where you don't know what Funko Pop they're going to give you that month. Mm-hmm. That would be really cool, I think.
I've had to refuse to even touch Funko Pop figures. It's just not something I want to get involved in.
Yeah, you
bought one. I bought one so I could have Gus sign it from Breaking Bad, but that's something else I don't need to collect. I already got too many books and movies and records and all this.
I had to give up on a lot of things. I used to collect, action figures, and I used to collect swords. I had a big sword collection at one point.
I remember that. Yeah.
I used to collect this, and I used to collect that, and I collected movies. At one point, I had like 2,800 movies in my collection, and I had to thin everything down because it's all about video games. Mm-hmm. So I can't look at Funko Pop. I can't look at this. I can't look at that. It's got to be, if I'm going to put it in my collection, it has to be.
I don't collect video games, so I like...
Right.
I like looking at the stupid little figurine. And
Sleazy's got a lot of space in the basement. You could put a ton of shelves down there and just buy all.
Yeah, I could just fill everything down there with Funko Pops.
I can't do it.
I even took one into work and put it on in my cube.
Yeah, the roommate would love that, wouldn't
he? Yeah, yeah, I'd be in trouble for that one. But all right, so they released a trailer for the new Point Break remake.
Which again, there's a lot I haven't seen. And I haven't seen
You're probably better off for it.
And yeah, to be honest, I don't care. I don't want to see it. I'm not interested in it. I think it's a terrible idea.
It doesn't look good, man. I'm just going to say it right now.
I've
never not finished a trailer. Until now.
When you don't have the patience to finish like a 1.5 minute trailer, you know it's bad.
Yeah, like it starts off and it's like,
there's some proverb at the beginning that opens with. Trying to make it think like it's gonna be this nice heady kind of movie,
and then you hear like this guy like talking, and you see like people like skydiving and shit, and this guy gets on there and he's like, "This criminal activity could have only been committed by
people like me,
extreme professional athletes," and you like at that point I was like, done.
That's what it was like. The very first shots was like. They're stealing like a pallet of cash off of some airplane, and they cut it open so it flies out over all the money
like flies out, and it's just like who in their right mind would do that?
Who
you would follow that money down to the ground and take as much as you could.
Ocean's 11 crew would never have done it.
That's sort of the thing. It's like they're doing all these crimes to help poor people or to help the world or something. Yeah. And I'm like, that can be well and good sometimes, but
let's face it, extreme athletes aren't doing that.
If you're spending, vast amounts of money to commit a crime, then you have to make vast amounts of money. You can't go just showering the populace with your
it was like there's like some poor village in the middle of like South America or something. I'm like,
if they're doing
it,
if they're doing American dollars.
Yeah,
Could
I
be.
think so.
North
If they're
America-
doing it to rich people, I might be hit to that because I do like to see
kind
rich
of a
people
Robin
get ripped
Hood
off.
movie.
But I couldn't make it through the trailer, so I don't
I
know
did,
how.
the two main characters, I have no idea who the actors are.
That'll be a movie I watch at like 3:00 in the morning on Saturday, and I just don't want to change the channel. And I'll tell you what, that's almost impossible now because I'll just be like, Xbox, turn off.
He doesn't have to get up.
So here's the question. Are they going to recreate the scene where he goes over the fence and he goes and he shoots him there? Are they going to redo that scene, do you think?
No.
They don't redo the dead president's masks I didn't see in the trailer. So it's really it's like Point Break in name only.
The characters from Hot Fuzz will be very disappointed.
But that was Keanu Reeves and
Patrick
Swayze, yeah.
And he's dead now, right? Patrick
Yeah,
Swayze.
he had cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say it. I love Point Break. It's like a really fun action movie. It's
And,
very 80s.
Really, for the concept, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad movie.
Gary Busey.
But today,
Yeah.
and portrayed the way they're going to do it, and then, you got to imagine it's going to be somewhere along the lines of like a Fast and the Furious type delivery. It's going to be bad.
Yeah, somebody even
It's
said
not
at
gonna
some
be a good
point,
movie.
like, Fast and the Furious is kind of a ripoff of Point Break to a degree. So now we got the new Point Break ripping off the Fast and the Furious that was ripping off the Point Break.
It's kind of like Uncharted was a Tomb Raider ripoff, and then the new Tomb Raider came out, and it was basically an Uncharted ripoff. Yeah. So I'm not surprised, but I don't expect anything good out of it. I can't imagine it's going to be good.
It's an oversaturation of movies like this that make people not want to go see good movies like Mad Max.
All have to be injured and on the couch or
Like a full
recuperating
body
from an
gas.
operation or something in order for me to sit through that movie. And there will have to be absolutely nothing else to watch.
By the way, did you see Tomorrowland bombed at the box office?
Did not.
Yeah, it bombed. It only made $32 million.
I heard some upfront reviews were kind of really meh on it.
Yeah, it looks interesting. I want to go see it. But I'm a fan of George Clooney, so...
Right.
I mean, chances are I'll watch whatever George puts out there.
Sometimes these movies come out, they don't do gangbusters when they open, but they're good movies. Expendables 3 didn't do gangbusters, and arguably that could have been because of the leak. Dread didn't do gangbusters, and it was a phenomenal movie. And there's a lot of movies that follow that trend that are really good flicks. So I wouldn't put this off as a bad movie.
Yeah, they said it. They're already saying it's a massive failure.
I mean, it wasn't directed by is it Brad Bird or the guy who did X-Men First Class?
No, the guy that did what did he do?
He did the last Mission Impossible.
No, he did
Ghost Protocol. He did Ghost Protocol and he did something else.
Now we got to look it up real quick.
But they were expecting this to be like a big movie.
His last movie flopped, I thought. Mm-hmm. The guy that directed this, because I was just reading about this the other day.
It's surprising because how often does a George Clooney movie flop? And you would think just based on his name alone, that people would go to the theater, see it because they're fans, because of his huge recent success. And apparently that's not the case.
I think part of the problem is they still haven't exactly explained what the movie is. Yeah. And even any trailer I saw, even up to the... I think I saw it like 2 or 3 times.
They didn't do a good job of
selling it. They didn't really explain what it was about.
I just watched Gravity and was really impressed. Like, I hadn't watched it because...
Phenomenal, right?
Yeah, I thought the premise was stupid. Mm-hmm. Like, really, how much can you do? These guys are... But they really pulled it off. They made it fairly realistic, and I was...
When they're in
flat
space,
out impressed.
When they were in space and she's like tumbling around in space, I was like grabbing the couch because I thought, like, it felt like I was in space with her.
Yeah.
Like, that right there made it awesome.
Yeah, and the great scene, of course, is where he comes back to the little module she's in, and he's like, oh, yeah, I just did this, and I came back, and and then you realize, of course, it's all, like, a hallucination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, like, because for a moment, I was like, oh, they ruined it. Really? That's the dumbest thing. And then it's like, oh, I see, And that last scene with her walking off, and by the way, Sandra Bullock...
She's in shape.
Wow.
She looked good at the end, didn't she?
She was gorgeous, man. Like, I couldn't believe it. How old is she now?
Now you know why people are breaking into her house and watching her sleep.
Right. Man. If everyone could age like her, or Sean Connery. I want to age like Sean Connery myself,
and not mess it up.
Yeah.
Especially women as they get older and they get surgery and stuff. And
a lot of these actresses who think they need all the help, and I mean, let's face it, Sandra's had some work. I think
he did do Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol. So
okay,
yeah, but what was it that? Well, no, it was their last movie with a budget that was similar to this. What was the Western movie that they did?
Oh,
Disney.
Lone Ranger?
Yeah.
My.
It flopped like Lone Ranger did opening week. It had similar opening
Who
weekends.
thought the Lone Ranger was going to be good? Raise your hand. Anyone here?
Not me.
No hands are up.
It's a good premise, and it was due for
No, it's not. It's not a good premise. You are giving it way too much credit.
I love a good old fashioned Western, but you throw Johnny Depp in there as a Native American because he's like an 8th or a 32 Native American in real life or something. It's like,
well, and then to make him the main character basically is what they were doing. I mean,
they were trying to make Pirates of the Caribbean Lone Rangers.
Right, they were drawing so much attention to Tonto that they pretty much ignored the whole Lone Ranger aspect of the story. It just looked. I
haven't been a fan of like any Johnny Depp movie in like 10 years, so I'm.
It's a shame.
Same here.
He's a phenomenal actor, but
he's just doing. He sold his soul to Disney.
I want him to make like more like Ninth Gate kind of movies where he plays kind of like.
I didn't like the Ninth Gate, but I'll take. What was the one where he's the writer?
That
was
Secret Window. Yeah, love that movie. Man.
I wanted to see. What's the one where he's dying of cancer and they put his brain into a computer?
Oh, Transcendence.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah,
I never got to see that.
That got really like mixed reviews.
Yeah,
I still kind of want to see it. That was
when movies like that get like panned on by critics. I question like if they're intelligent enough to understand.
I found like critics, at least critics around here, you read the other paper and you read this and you read that, and if it's not like an art film playing at the Drexel Theater, and for those of you who don't know, the Drexel is like a local job that plays foreign film and everything, but if it's not that kind of film, they just
they pan it.
They pan it and they pan it. They pan it without seeing it.
And there's plenty of popular movies that are crap, but there's plenty of popular movies that are good, and you can't.
And then there's popular movies that are remade and they're shit. And that was the point of Point Break.
So last topic of the night, and it's gonna go to the Flash and Arrow finales.
All right, so here's in long story short, Arrow finale
sucks.
Flash finale, yay!
The Flash was amazing.
I just summed it up. Are we done? Or can we go home? Oh, okay. No, you're right. The Flash.
Every episode this year, The Flash was great.
Great show.
I mean. Like everybody was great, even the sub characters. They're phenomenal. You love them.
They did a phenomenal job.
And you know what?
The best Arrow stuff this season was when he appeared with the Flash, or when the Flash appeared on his show.
The fight between the Flash and Arrow was especially awesome this year.
Yeah,
but the last episode of Flash. I mean, how many people do you think were at home crying during that?
Oh my!
Like that was a powerful scene.
They really did. They really did a good thing.
I mean, they the whole season they've built up this tension that he has over his mom being murdered, and I mean they have this scene, and it's just like it's so powerful. I mean,
without huge spoilers, they go back to that, and you get to witness it in a way that makes you feel like you're part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was really well done.
I read a thing where they did, they do the read-throughs before they actually film it, and they said everybody in the room was just like breaking down crying. They had to stop. They couldn't finish it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool.
Now, how about like some of the Easter eggs? And you got to watch through the episode. There's a ton of stuff.
I have to watch through it again because I didn't see everything. Because I'm always like doing something while I'm watching TV.
Well, they showed what's her name who works in the lab.
I forget her name. Yes.
I believe she becomes like Frost Queen or something like that. But there's a part where you see the Flash is traveling through time.
Yeah.
And Dr. Wells says, "Oh, that's your past and your future," and you see bits and pieces and you see her,
the Speed Force,
as her alter ego, and you see a lot of things happening, and that was pretty interesting. Then we saw the original Flash, the original. I believe his name is Jay Garrick. And he's the Flash actually on Earth 2 after Barry Allen was introduced in the I think the late 50s. Yeah, he became the primary Flash, and our Earth with him on it is Earth 1. And then it turns out Jay Garrick's Earth is Earth 2. But what they did was they opened this gateway through time, but it wasn't just a gateway through time, because we got Jay Garrick's helmet flies through it and it lands in front of everyone. It's the winged, looks like a World War I trench helmet.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what? What's that going to lead to? What's that mean? That means, of course, that we can still see the Reverse Flash in the future because we're going to have an alternate version of him. It means we might get alternate versions of the Flash in the series, too. And that's just incredible.
I like that. I've heard that they were talking about the movies and how the movies are going to have different characters playing characters that are already on TV. And they're saying if they open it up to the DC's known for their multiverse, and they've had big crossover stories before. And they were saying, it'd be cool, like, see Michael Keaton show up as a Batman at some point or something like that.
And there is a rumor flying that your boy might show up as, the original TV series Flash. What's his face? He's playing Barry's dad.
John Wesley Shipp.
Yeah, there's rumor that they might introduce him at some point. So, and I think that would be really cool.
Where I think the episode fell apart was when, what's his name, Thrawn?
Eddie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big spoiler alert. Turn this off if you haven't watched it. He kills himself to keep the Reverse Flash from, I guess, defeating Barry and from, you know. But if that happens, it retcons everything that happened in their universe from the time Eddie died. So there never would have been a Reverse Flash to come back.
It's that Looper effect.
Yeah, and I mean, when they F up time travel like that, it really makes me mad. I mean, it just really bothers me that no one on the show had the foresight to say, wait a minute, if we do that, it just ruins everything. Because they did it right with Barry and his mom.
Yeah.
They did the right thing, and that was really cool, and I was really glad to see that. But then they did that wrong.
I'm wondering if that splits it off into other dimensions and stuff, if they're going to play their roles like that. Yeah.
If you say, okay, yeah, it creates a new line in the fifth dimension, okay, but that's really not how it worked, because when he killed himself, the Reverse Flash disappeared.
Yeah.
And when the Reverse Flash, that's showing you that this is happening in this timeline within this universe.
They would never remember the Reverse Flash. They wouldn't have any recollection. They'd be standing there like, what are we doing?
Right. Well, they'd all be in different places, having lived completely different lives, So that whole thing, Barry's mom would have never been killed.
Yeah.
So that whole thing was a bit stupid, but all things considered, it was still a well-done show and a great finale.
Yeah.
Now, the Arrow, on the other hand, was just...
It's fading quick.
Oh, I'm so done with it.
Lazy's been telling me he's loved Arrow since the beginning, so when he gets to the point where he's saying it's going downhill...
And I'm with him. It was phenomenal. It was kind of like watching Lost.
Yeah.
Every episode gave you 5 questions and only answered 2. And you got more and more interested in the characters. But now, I'm sick of the flashbacks. I'm sick of Oliver Queen with the fake hair with the toboggan on. I'm totally sick of that. I'm sick of the dark, brooding, oh, poor me crap that one character or another has going on at all times in the show.
Yeah.
I'm sick of Thea. I'm sick of pretty much everything about the show.
The best part of this year was Adam.
Yeah.
He was... Brandon Routh killed it in this thing.
He did very well.
I felt bad because they write Felicity in because she's a fan favorite. And, I mean, she is super hot. I mean, I dig her.
There's no getting past it.
But... I don't want it. Every episode is her crying. Every episode is her crying.
Yeah.
And I'm done.
And it's off and it's on.
Yeah.
It's, I love you and I can't be with you. And it's I want to be with you, but I won't be with you.
Guess what? He goes out and he fights crime. He's a vigilante. He's going to die sooner or later. The odds are stacked against him. So just quit crying about it.
Yeah.
You should already be coped with that situation.
Yeah. And then the end, it was just really lackluster. And what happened with the Atom? What was that about?
I don't know. I know he's still alive.
Well, we know he's alive, but they make it seem like he got killed.
Yeah.
This giant explosion. But I don't know.
He always invents this like tech, and like he's kind of like the poor man's Tony Stark. is what he is.
Well, he's rich like Tony Stark.
Yeah.
But I see
just
what
like
you're saying.
Arrow's the poor man's Batman.
Right.
But he's like messing around, and he's like, "Why doesn't anything work on the first try?" And then boom, like the entire floor explodes.
The whole top level of the building just.
He's working on nanotechnology or something.
Right.
Has he become the Atom already?
Yeah. He's got the suit and everything, which they did a really good job.
He hasn't shrunk, but yeah, he's the Atom.
Yeah. Which I think that's
gonna be
the shrinking,
the catalyst.
But they did a really good. I was really impressed with how they pulled that off for a TV show.
For a TV show, they did very well.
Yeah, I mean the parts where he's like flying and he hits the ground, that was cool. The page out of Iron Man. I'm surprised Marvel isn't suing him right now, but
yeah.
But I mean, all in all, there's good points and then there's really bad points about this year.
Yeah,
like the beginning of the season had some awesome action scenes in it. You know, where they're like, I don't know what you call it, propelling down into windows and busting in, but I think they messed up and they got rid of Roy.
It's just not. It's every episode is more of the same.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. And I hear it's going to take a new direction for the next
season.
Thank God, it needs to. It really needs to.
I'm hearing rumors that they might try to introduce Green Lantern at some point.
Oh my!
I don't know how true that is.
See, it strikes me like he's just too overpowered. The Green Lantern, he should be fighting...
He needs to be out in space fighting.
Right, he needs to fight universal problems, not problems in a city on Earth. It's kind of like The Flash. I mean, we saw in an episode of the Arrow when The Flash shows up, and he takes out all of Ra's al Ghul's soldiers. Like, done, And it's like he's so overpowered for that universe that you can't really put him in with the Arrow, because the Arrow, he has to do things a certain way.
Yeah.
In The Flash, he just,
But it's cool, though, in every episode of The Flash, just when you think he's getting his groove, he meets a villain who has a power that he doesn't understand, and he has to learn how to fight that villain the whole episode.
Yeah.
I'm kind of upset, though, we didn't get to see a whole lot of Gorilla Grodd.
That was...
We got one episode of him fighting Gorilla Grodd, and that was it.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping he'd come back for the finale, because it was an awesome episode, but we didn't get it. But all in all, it was still phenomenal. The dude that plays the Reverse Flash was awesome.
Yeah. It was all done very well.
Yeah, I mean, besides your time travel problems, but...
Yeah. Well, that aside, and I'm willing to put that aside, okay, fine, grudgingly, but I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah, they did a good job for something that they thought couldn't be made on TV. They did a freak... They just hit it out of the park.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Absolutely.
And you know what? They could make that for another 9 years, as far as I'm concerned, as long as they don't take the Arrow path.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you right now, they just need to squash the whole relationship thing with Iris and Barry. I don't want to see it, because then she'll be the next Felicity. She'll be crying every episode.
The sad thing is we know it has to happen.
It's coming, yeah.
I was talking to Sleazy about this before. Do you think there's too many episodes in a season? I think, because there's like a regular run.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I forget who I was talking to about this recently, but yes, absolutely. You know who it was? There was a guy who came in the store from London, and we were just talking. We were talking about Red Dwarf. Red Dwarf, by the way, picked up for 2 more seasons. Seasons 11 and 12 coming in 2016-17.
I have to catch up.
Which is going to be my most anticipated show, hands down, right there with Daredevil. But we were talking about British television versus American television. And I said, I don't know what it is that makes me enjoy British television so much more than American television. And you know what it is, I think, is that it doesn't get all worn out. You know, 22, 24 episodes a season versus like 13 episodes of Doctor Who. I always want more Doctor Who.
You get more quality than quantity.
They have longer to write. They could put more money into each episode.
Yeah.
Look at the IT Crowd as an example.
Yeah, it's very
easily
short.
One of the funniest sitcoms. Just regular situational comedy, canned laughter, whatever. The funniest I've ever seen.
You could watch it all in a whole afternoon.
I think it's funnier than Big Bang. I think it's funnier than any other show I've watched, just about. And
it's up there.
There's only 6 episodes a year, So
and they're like half hours too.
Yeah, they're short episodes.
Yeah,
only 4 seasons and a couple extra episodes.
Dynamite, funny stuff. And I'll tell you what, I finished Derek.
Mm-hmm. Is that the one with Ricky Gervais? I've seen a couple episodes with.
And I'm going to tell you, I read some reviews on that show, and they shredded him for his weak performance and the weak comedy. I mean, they shredded him. in these reviews I was reading on IMDb, and I'm going to tell you flat out, that is a brilliant show.
It is.
I was in tears more than once watching that show because it takes you on the full like roller coaster ride of emotion. Like you'll laugh one minute, and then the next minute they'll do something so touching that you can't help but have tears in your eyes. And that it's amazingly well done. Ricky Gervais plays he does that role so well. I forgot it was him because I am not particularly fond of him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, An Idiot Abroad, he's funny because he's himself and he's just totally making life miserable for Carl, and it's a funny show. But I didn't like The Office with him in it. I've never seen him in anything and said, "Oh, Ricky Gervais, I really like him."
Yeah, he's not that great.
No, and then I saw
But
Derek.
this is pretty.
And
I've
I was
only
like,
seen like 5 episodes too.
Man, he has range. He plays this character in like a fantastic manner. He shows respect. You know, again, we're talking about it's a little bit touchy when you play someone who's slow,
Yeah.
a slow adult, and they do it in a way that makes you not just feel for him and pity him, but to respect him for like little bits of wisdom that he constantly perceives in the world around him, things he hears from other people or things he sees on his own through his own simple way. And it's just so well done. I would recommend that show to absolutely anyone. Anyone who pans it, in my book, doesn't know anything about TV.
You know, well, they got time. They have time to sit down and write these episodes and refine them. There was a poll out years ago from like BBC or something, and it was like the number one greatest British or funniest British show of all time was Fawlty Towers with John Cleese.
Yeah.
2 seasons, 3 episodes. They're like 2 years apart because they spent so long writing them.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, I mean...
One of the funniest shows I've ever seen. It's right up there with the IT Crowd, in fact. Yeah.
But it's like I said, I was talking to Sleazy before. It's like, can there be too many episodes in a season? No, I think so. I think sometimes you only have so much material to go through.
Yeah, 23, 22, 24 episodes. It might be too much.
There's a lot of filler time in there.
Yeah. And I mean, look at like Game of Thrones. What are there, 13 episodes?
13, yeah.
Daredevil had 13.
Just about all your premium shows like HBO, Showtime.
Anymore, they're adopting
they're
that
all
format.
they're all 13 episodes.
I think a lot more people should consider it. I think we'd get a lot more fantastic programming, better programming.
I'll even say some shows need to go down to like 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how I...
Well, you know, Gallivant was another one that was only like 6 or 8 episodes long. Agent Carter. Which I thought was outstanding. It was
phenomenal. It got picked up for a second season.
Yes, I'm really excited about that.
That chick's so hot, man.
She's hot, but the show was good too.
a lot of network TV are starting to get that idea.
Yeah,
like we'll do 10 episodes a season or something. And
I think that's part of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s problem. It's just too much filler time, and it gets boring at times. And even though it's gotten a lot better,
it's a good show. I'm not blown away by it.
It was a lot better this year. Have you seen this year's?
I have not.
It's a lot better. They play right into Age of Ultron too.
Okay.
Like some of the stuff you don't understand at the beginning of Age of Ultron, it's because the show picked right up into the movie.
Right.
So, which I think is kind of they're making you watch the other product.
Right.
But
it's fantastic marketing.
It is.
Give it for that.
I love the idea of taking movies and TV shows and mixing them up. They've been talking about doing an adaptation of Stephen King's The Dark Tower series for years now. And they said, we'll spread it across some movies.
Gunslinger. That would be amazing.
It's like Ron Howard's been involved for years. It switched studios a couple times. They wanted to do, like, hey, we'll do a movie, and then we'll do, like, a miniseries.
Do that story and attach Ron Howard to it. It's got to be good. Right?
So I hope, I like the idea that people are taking the chances and doing this kind of stuff now.
Did anyone here watch Gallivant real quick?
Not yet.
No? Oh. Yeah, Sleazy doesn't like musicals.
No, I do not.
But I'll tell you what.
I've heard a lot of positive reviews.
It's really funny, and I'm sad I don't think it's getting a second season.
They said it was one of those shows that when they aired it on TV, they aired 2 episodes at once.
Yeah.
So the whole series was over in like 3 weeks. So it didn't have time to build up a following.
It went quick.
You saw it on Hulu.
Yes.
So it didn't get a chance to build that following that other shows did.
Right. I'd really like to see more of that. They leave you wanting more. So we'll see what happens though.
It's a good time for TV shows.
Yeah,
it is.
And I think that's it.
Go see Mad Max. Go see Mad Max.
And if you haven't seen Red Dwarf, watch Red Dwarf.
Read the books if you get a
Sci-fi,
chance.
comedy, British. It's everything you want. And that's it.
Later.